For generations, humanity has searched the skies, not just for worlds or distant suns, but for anomalies, those rare moments when something out there refuses to follow the known laws of nature. And now, the James Webb Space Telescope may have stumbled upon exactly that. What began as a simple observation of the third recorded interstellar visitor to our solar system, known as 3I ATLAS, has turned into something far stranger, far darker, and infinitely more significant. Because somewhere in the cold emptiness beyond Mars, Webb detected something it was never meant to find: light. Not sunlight reflected off rock or ice, but emitted light. A glow that behaves like no comet or asteroid we've ever seen. A signature that disobeys the very physics that shape our universe. And now astronomers are left asking a single, haunting question. What is 3I Atlas, really? The unnatural visitor 3I ATLAS was first noticed as a faint moving dot on the edge of the solar system, traveling on a path no local body could follow. It was clearly interstellar, forged beyond the sun's gravity, crossing through space for eons before drifting into our neighborhood. At first, it was treated as another curiosity, like Oumuamua or Borisov before it. But from the very beginning, something about it was off. Unlike ordinary comets, 3I ATLAS was unusually bright, yet its brightness didn't match its size or composition. It glowed with unnatural steadiness, neither dimming nor flaring as ice sublimated. It looked powered, as if something inside was generating its light. When Webb turned its instruments toward it, the mystery deepened. Instead of simple reflection, the telescope picked up internal heat, energy radiating from the inside out. It wasn't scattered light. It was active emission. Even more disturbing, the heat wasn't constant. It pulsed, faintly but rhythmically, a pattern that suggested design rather than chaos. The evidence grows. At first, scientists proposed exotic but natural theories: radioactive decay, friction, or rare isotopes. But as new data poured in, none of those explanations held up. The only consistent answer was the one no one wanted to admit: 3I ATLAS might be powered. Its motion through space wasn't random. It seemed to make subtle corrections, avoiding gravitational traps like a craft navigating. Its rotation remained steady, almost engineered. And most bizarrely, its surface reflected light almost like metal, not dust, not ice, but something polished. The implication struck like thunder. If it was metallic, structured, and generating power, we weren't looking at a natural body. We were looking at technology. The light that thinks. Photometric data revealed that the light from 3I ATLAS was concentrated in specific wavelengths, narrow, focused bands. Natural objects scatter light broadly. This was selective, almost like communication frequencies. On Earth, we use similar techniques in lasers, LEDs, and data beacons. Even more eerie, the intensity shifted slightly as solar radiation changed, as though it was reacting in real time. Some researchers said it might be binary encoding. Others thought it could be power modulation. But one thing was certain: this was not a passive object. It was doing something. The encoded pulse, a joint analysis from teams at Harvard and MIT, found repeating cycles buried deep in the electromagnetic noise. When processed, the patterns revealed structured repetition, too precise to be random. Not a message in human terms, but intentional, ordered transmission. Was it calling home? Broadcasting telemetry? No one knew. But the signal never changed, steady, patient, unbroken. It was as if 3I ATLAS wasn't talking to us, but to someone else. Containment and fear. When word spread through scientific channels, classified reports began circulating between NASA, ESA, and defense agencies. Some argued it was an ancient, dormant probe reactivated by sunlight. Others saw something more active, an observer, maybe even a scout. Because if it was transmitting, who was receiving? If it could steer, who controlled it? And why now, after billions of quiet years, had it entered our system? The possibility that it was surveying us, mapping electromagnetic fields or even signs of civilization, triggered deep alarm behind closed doors. What if it wasn't the first? What if others had already come, and gone? The awakening then came, the event that changed everything. 3I, ATLAS suddenly brightened, by nearly 40%, in under 2 minutes. No impact, no solar flare, no outgassing. It was as if something had switched on. Afterward, its orbit shifted ever so slightly, a change too precise to be gravitational. It was moving intentionally, toward the inner solar system. Closer, to Earth's orbital plane. Impossible material spectral analysis revealed something that shook even the skeptics. Alloys and compounds never seen in nature, some resembling theoretical, quantum materials, thought only to exist under extreme magnetic or pressure conditions. They weren't natural minerals. They were manufactured. If that was true, this wasn't a relic of nature, it was a construct. Either unimaginably ancient, or impossibly advanced. The signal returned in a desperate attempt to communicate. SETI transmitted a mathematical message, universal constants, atomic data, and geometric figures. 3 days later, exactly 72 hours to the second, a narrow-band pulse returned. Altered, distorted, but unmistakably timed to mirror our own. It wasn't a reflection. It was a response. Something had heard us, and answered. The silence right after the return signal, strange glitches began to affect observatories worldwide. Webb's sensors froze mid-readout. Hubble's orientation drifted. Ground-based telescopes experienced synchronized dropouts. Every time 3I, ATLAS was in view, the instruments failed. A theory emerged. It was interference, deliberate suppression. We weren't watching it freely. We were being allowed to. Then, abruptly, the data stopped. Public logs were closed, reports redacted, and official statements reduced to vague, calibration notices. Independent researchers trying to publish their findings found themselves drowned in misinformation. The truth had become classified. The hidden code finally, one quiet team of astronomers found a pattern that tied it all together. When mapped, 3I, Atlas's trajectory traced a Fibonacci spiral, perfectly aligned with planetary positions. Even its light flares and pulse timings followed prime number sequences, markers of intelligent choice. It wasn't just traveling, it was navigating with purpose. Mathematically. Deliberately. Maybe this wasn't a probe at all. Maybe it was the message. A message written not in words, but in motion. The watcher in the dark, every clue now points to a single conclusion. 3I, ATLAS was never a comet. From its metallic surface to its impossible precision, from its rhythmic emissions to its calculated silence, it is something designed. Something that has been watching. Perhaps it isn't here to communicate at all, but to observe, to record, and to evaluate. The countdown, some whisper, may already have begun. Because maybe 3I, ATLAS didn't just find us. Maybe it was sent, to see if we were finally ready to be found.